Okay, let's talk about something that is kind of mind-blowing. In just 40 years, we've gone from those old dial-up sounds to what you could call digital minds. It's honestly one of the biggest transformations in all of human history. So let's dive in and figure out how we got here and, more importantly, where we're all headed next.
All right, do me a favor. Try to really think back to the year 2005. It doesn't feel that long ago, does it? But trust me, in tech years, it was practically a different century. The world we lived in was just fundamentally different, in ways you've probably completely forgotten about.
That's right, the little device that basically runs all of our lives now, that portal to our entire digital world, it just didn't exist yet, not even a little bit.
And think about what that means. No iPhone, no camera in every single pocket. So that constant stream of photos and videos that pretty much defines how we live and share today, it was literally impossible. The whole visual language of our modern world hadn't even been invented yet.
But this is the real kicker. Back in 2005, the default setting for a human being was offline. Being disconnected wasn't the weird thing, it was the baseline. It was the normal reality for most people on the entire planet.
So what on earth happened between then and now? Well, the first massive change was something we can call the Great Rewiring. This was the period when humanity decided to connect itself at a speed that was just unprecedented.
And the scale of this is just staggering to look at. We went from 1 billion people online to over 5 billion. And smartphones? They went from being this niche little gadget for maybe 2% of the population to the main computer for over 70% of us. It was a complete and total revolution.
These numbers are incredible, for sure, but they're really just one part of a much, much bigger story. So what happens when you connect that many people all at once? What does that ripple effect look like? Let's zoom out. And this chart really tells that story. As we all got connected, the global GDP more than doubled. Average life expectancy shot up by more than 6 years. And look, that's not some random coincidence. This is what happens when you give billions of people access to global markets, to life-saving information, to new opportunities. We literally laid a whole new digital foundation for our entire society.
And that digital foundation? It brings us right to today. See, we built the network, and now we're building a whole new kind of intelligence on top of it. We are without a doubt living in the age of AI, and its disruption is touching absolutely everything.
But here's the thing about this new power. It's a complete paradox. On the one hand, you've got this incredible, mind-boggling promise. Things like personalized medicine, amazing new creative tools. But on the other hand, you have some serious peril. I'm talking about incredibly convincing deepfakes, waves of misinformation, and the very real threat of major job losses. It's a powerful new tool, and we are all learning how to use it in real time.
This timeline really puts the crazy pace of all this into perspective. I mean, just 2 decades ago, we were excited about basic broadband. Then came mobile. Now it's AI. But look at what's coming. Immersive virtual realities. And then direct brain-computer interfaces. Each 10-year jump is way bigger than the one before it. The pace is definitely quickening.
Okay, so this is where things start to get really mind-bending. The next couple of decades are going to be defined by the blurring of lines, the line between what's real and what's digital, and even the line between what's human and what's technology. So, take entertainment, for example. Imagine something like living movies, where you don't just sit and watch a story. You interact with it, and an AI literally reshapes the plot based on what you do. In a future like that, the very idea of a passive audience could totally become a relic of the past.
And our jobs, they're getting completely remade too. Remote work was just the start. We're heading for a future where AI is just a standard team member, a collaborator on most things you do. And that eventually leads to this wild new idea, AI corporations. Think about it. Companies that are completely autonomous with no human employees, acting as real players in our economy.
And this is the ultimate frontier, brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs. And this isn't science fiction anymore. Imagine thinking a question instead of typing it, or downloading a skill like you download an app. The very real possibility of connecting our minds directly to the digital world is going to challenge everything we think we know about being human.
So when you have this much change happening this fast, it naturally brings up a really big question. Where do we find meaning in all of this? As our world becomes more and more technological, our search for the spiritual is also transforming right along with it.
And this chart shows a fascinating paradox.
In a lot of developed countries, the number of people tied to organized religion is dropping fast. They're called the nones. But at the exact same time, the huge majority of people, we're talking over 80%, still believe in a soul or a spirit. So it seems like we're leaving the institutions, but we are not giving up the search for meaning itself.
And you know what's stepping into that gap? Technology. We're already seeing AI-generated prayers, chatbots that act as spiritual guides, even immersive temples being built in the metaverse. Faith and spirituality are essentially being unbundled from tradition, personalized just for you and delivered through code.
This all brings us to the really core questions of this new future. I mean, what does it mean to be you when technology can augment your mind, replicate your personality, or even replace your actual experiences? Where does the self even begin and end?
And where does our purpose come from when our communities are virtual and our reality is something we're co-creating with an AI? How do we satisfy those deep human needs for connection and belonging in a world like that?
These aren't questions for some distant generation in a sci-fi movie. The technologies are here. The ethical problems are here right now. The choices that we're making today are actively writing the code for the world of tomorrow. The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we are all building together.